Welcome.
Thank you.
Would you mind introducing yourself and telling us what agency you work for?
I'm Chris Tabb. I work for Texas School for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
And can you tell us about your job at the agency and a little bit about the school for the blind?
Well, my job at the agency, my title is Statewide Orientation Mobility Consultant, and I work for outreach programs at the Texas School for the Blind and Visually Impaired. I don't have a caseload of students, but I get to work with students when I will go and visit at different schools or different districts to help orientation mobility specialists or teams to set up programs or for specialized instruction for students who are blind, visually impaired, or deafblind.
Excellent. Can you tell us also a little bit about the School for the Blind?
Well, the School for the Blind is based in Austin, although we reach out through our outreach programs across the state of Texas. The Texas School for the Blind itself is a residential campus in Austin that is, we'll say, kind of the home for about 150 students during the regular school year. Most of the students who are at the school stay residentially because otherwise it would take them too long to travel back home. We also have short-term programs that happens throughout the regular school year and summer programs in the summer. So the students who attend our regular school programs would not be there in the summer. We reserve that time for students who are at their home district to be able to realize the benefits of the School for the Blind.
Excellent. Can you tell us a little bit about the students you work with?
Well, we work with students who are birth through 22, and students who are blind and visually impaired or those with dual sensory loss. Occasionally they will be doing things that are of short term, like through our short-term programs, where they might just come for brief periods to learn intensive skills. It might be to learn a certain technology with Braille, or it might be for a specific content area, like a capital program where they're visiting the state's capital and learning about all the academic components there. We also have programs for transition age students that are learning skills that they'll need, whether they're going on to a vocational program or to a college program or just basic life skills.
Excellent, thank you. If someone is coming to you fresh out of college as a comms, what would make them stand out as an applicant either to the outreach program or to the School for the Blind?
Well, because we work with students who have a variety of needs, it's important that for our comms that work with caseloads at the school, that you wouldn't expect to work with one particular group of students. So you wouldn't just say, I'm only going to work with academic students, or I'm only going to work with students who have who are deafblind. So it's very helpful to have comfort with an array of student challenges, knowing that you might be at one point in the morning working with a student who's nonverbal, and then an hour later working with a student who's highly academic, who's a senior in high school, and being able to have a comfort level and skills to work with all different populations within that.
What would you say to a student or an applicant about teamwork and working independently and collaboratively?
Working collaboratively is very important, whether you're at the School for the Blind or anywhere else, because within the school-age system, we have an individualized program for that particular student, and we want to make sure that the student has the most benefit from their educational program, and that will include specialists from across program areas. So it could be an occupational therapist, a physical therapist, assistive technology specialist, speech and language. At the School for the Blind, all those people are in one spot. Often outside of TSBVI, that might be based on an itinerant model, and it's not quite as easy to get everyone in one spot. We're very fortunate at the School for the Blind that you can walk down the hallway and find all of those different specialty areas. So collaboration is something that we do every day.
Excellent. In terms of professionalism, what are you looking for in a job applicant?
Well, it's important to know that when you start a job, there are certain responsibilities. It can be just the beginnings of knowing that you have to communicate with your supervisor or with your colleagues, documenting your time with whatever system that might be, but certainly to be able to communicate well with others and to be able to respond an appropriate period of time to phone calls that come in or emails. And so just basic professionalism and making sure that you are cooperating with the other members of your team, working together throughout the process.
Excellent. What are opportunities for growth and advancement within either outreach or the School for the Blind?
Well, at the School for the Blind, we have positions that start for, we'll say, residential aides that are just helping out in different parts of the facility, teachers' aides, then a comms, for instance, would be that related service provider. There is the ability then to possibly become a lead teacher, where you would be kind of guiding and assisting other teachers at the facility, or becoming an assistant principal or a principal. Within outreach programs, we have education consultants that go out through the state. You are at that point functioning much more autonomously. You're able to kind of set your own schedule for where you need to be in different places around the state to provide training. And then there are directors for each of the departments at the supervisory or administrative level, as well as the superintendent.
Wow, there's a lot of room for growth and development. Does the School for the Blind encourage professional development?
The School for the Blind does encourage professional development. There are funds that are set aside for teachers, comms, to be able to go to trainings throughout the state of Texas, as well as occasionally off the grounds of Texas, we'll say, or beyond our state boundaries. Occasionally it will be something that might even be international, such as the International Orientation Mobility Conference. The potential is always there to be able to request that you be able to attend training. Sometimes it might be something like traveling to Australia that might have to be limited in some way, but the administration is very focused on helping professionals to grow and to be able to share that knowledge between them.
Excellent, thank you. If you had one more thing to say that I haven't asked about, something you'd like to share with those watching the video, what would you like to share with future candidates or applicants?
I would encourage you to think about the expanded core curriculum, whether it be sitting for your interview or for your practice as you become an orientation mobility specialist. Some of you may be dual TVI and comms, some of you may be just comms, but that's an area that both professions come together, and both professions have the opportunity to instruct teachers or students, in those areas. And the comms can address every one of those areas, and it might be something that you're asked about in your interview. So knowing about each of those 9 areas of the expanded core curriculum could be very helpful for you in an interview, but certainly in your career as a comms.
Thank you so much for your time, Chris.
Thank you.